I want you guys, particularly Pete, Jeff, and Chucks, I want you guys to chime in first here in terms of where you see where the offensive or where the head coach needs to come from, whether it's on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. And then I think me and Tom will chime in after the fact. So let's go over to Chuckser here. What do you think, Chucks?
Well, I'll put it this way, and if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I wrote an article. It came out last night about the traits that the Eagles should be looking for when it comes to their new head coach. And the first thing I put was leadership. It has to be a great leader. That's obvious. But the second thing I put in there was that they have to be an intelligent offensive mind. Now, me saying that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm opposed to a defensive-minded coach. If we hire a defensive-minded coach, we've got to bring an offensive coordinator with him to be, that is an intelligent offensive mind, so that still is in place. So it's not necessarily that the coach himself, in my opinion, has to be an offensive mind, but the whole hiring process, you have to get some type of new and fresh and creative voice in this locker room on this team to create a new offense that can just do things we haven't seen. So I'm going to disagree, although I would lean that way toward the head coach being offensive minded because, this way we don't have to worry about offensive coordinators or cycling through offensive coordinators every couple of years. I'm not shutting the door on any great names that come up. Like one of the names the media's been talking about lately is Robert Saleh from the defensive coordinator from the Niners, and I love Robert Saleh. I think he's a leader, a phenomenal leader, animated, a player's coach, great defensive mind, and it's been reported that he's planning to bring either Mike McDaniel or Mike LaFleur with him. So if you guys don't know, they are the running game and passing game coordinators for the Niners. So they would bring a similar scheme, that Kyle Shanahan's zone run scheme, over to here. And you guys know, me being a big Kyle Shanahan fanboy, I love that scheme. So I'm all for that. So even though I'm leaning toward offensive minded, I'm not going to totally shut the door on a great coach that comes in interviews just because they're more of a defensive coach. It all just depends on who they're bringing with them and if they have the leadership traits and all the other stuff that I talked about in my article. So I'm going to disagree to the poll.
Pete?
What's up, fam? Hopefully everybody had a good week. It's good to be back here with you guys, chopping it up. Eagles never leave us any dull moment. And Jeffrey Lurie looked about as red as a beet on Tuesday. But no, if you put yourself in the box, I'm vehemently going to disagree with the poll. Going into this process, questioning the decision to fire the head coach in the first place, and then you put yourself more in the corner to say he has to be offensive minded. Like, the offense has more to fix than what I even think the defense has right now, because the quarterback position is questionable. I mean, to me right now, Saleh probably is my leading candidate for the job, being a defensive-minded coach, because of who he may bring with him. But what you do is, if you get that star-studded offensive coordinator, chances are that OC is going to leave within 2 to 3 years to be a head coach somewhere, a la Denver, Mike McCoy. I don't even know if he's in the fucking league anymore. You saw what happened when Atlanta had that run. Dirk Cutter was the OC. He got a job in Tampa. So, not to say that you can't have it happen, but I mean, offensive minds out there, I mean, that's generally that's I really say those would be the majority of the coaches now, right? Especially this year with the coaching candidates. I think Saleh really is the only defensive type minded coach out there. Really, no special teams coaches really getting any love out there as far as being a head coach, because one of the things that we said about Doug really was he was a leader of men. And I think you need somebody to really coordinate and for everybody to feel comfortable in their position and not to be jealous of one another or looking for any way to get out or go there or have their own man. That's why I really think a defensive-minded coach would come in handy if you're looking for long-term. But so I disagree, and Jeff can have the floor, but we all know what Jeffrey and how we think.
I would say, Pete, Chucks, you both brought up some great points. I would say about the leadership quality, and usually defensive minded coaches bring that leadership quality. But I have to agree. I have to agree with the question. I understand there's not a lot of great candidates out there for that are offensive minded, but in this new age of the NFL, you need to score points to win in this league. You can win games with a mediocre defense, but if you're not putting up points from your offense, it's not going to matter. I'll say they proved that with winning the Super Bowl a couple years ago. They had to compete in the shootout with Tom Brady in that Super Bowl. Our defense made no plays whatsoever, hardly, which Jeffrey Lurie brought up about in his press conference, the Jim Schwartz. I'll say we keep on talking about, I'll say that we don't run the ball enough. That we don't. We had one of the worst passing attacks last year in the NFL. So I'll say, unfortunately, I'm not really keen on a lot of the candidates, but I feel they need to find someone that is offensive minded because they need to find something to fix Carson Wentz. They need to fix this offense, get it back on pace because in today's NFL, you need to score points to win football games.
Big Dad?
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. I agree to the poll. Because until you fix Carson Wentz, this organization is a train wreck no matter who you bring in. So, I mean, you can bring in the smartest defensive guy in the world and, you got the 85 Bears. But if you have no quarterback production at all, like we had this year, you're going to be a 5-win team, 4-win team, 6-win team, 7-win team, something not good enough and not where we want to be. And then we're back into the same position, drafting in the top 3, hoping that, maybe we'll get our quarterback this year. Maybe we'll land him. So, to me, I'm not usually a guy who says it's one way or the other in terms of the next coach. But I need an offensive guy in here. I'm looking for an offensive guru. I'm looking for somebody not only because, all I heard about how bad Doug Pederson's play design was. That's all I had to get pounded in my head online for the last 3 months. That all of a sudden he forgot how to call plays, and that's fine. Maybe he did. I don't know. So I want a really smart offensive mind in here because if that's part of the reason why we failed, then I want to make sure it's not going to be a reason moving forward on why Carson and some of our other picks may not look good right now. I want that to be something we can move forward and say, okay, well, you know what? It's just the players, right? Because we've tried 2 offensive guys, and a real smart guy, and this is where we're at. So. Usually, I like Robert Solo a lot. It's not a guy I'm against. I don't really have a favorite candidate anymore. It was Lincoln Riley. It doesn't seem like he's coming in right this minute. So, I don't have one. Kellen Moore I hate. So, to me, there's no exciting name out there. This is why I didn't want to go through this. This is why
we didn't want to be in this fucking position in the first place. That's the problem. This is not the time to be single looking for somebody at all.